Well, greetings, Sigma race fans. We come at you live here tonight from Lakeside in Australia. Should be an interesting one here for the Sigma Cup Series, where we're getting down to the final 6 races left in the season. Starting on the front row, you've got Dalton Scott and Brian DeBlank, followed by Rich Roy and Chaz Chadwick, Maggie Reams and Ewan What Army, Kellen Relic and Aunt Me Person, Wyatt Wilkinson alongside Carson Bowers, Bella Fawn and James Fireball Robert, Braden Varga, who just won the last race out alongside Bradley Reim, Tom Cording and Guido Piano, Tasha Wright and Eli the Wolf, Lucas Holmes and Tristan Reams, Cooper Dwight and Michael LeBeau, Andre Stefan and Tyler Shangle, Taden Bergeron and Lynn Farrell, Jordan Walker and Jacob Shangle, Chris Harvey and Nate Newman, Tyler Landa and Gannon Bird, Matthew Fastnot and Kara Shangle. A terrible qualifying position for Al Bunche, starting deep here tonight alongside Tyler Aspinall. That's crazy for the points leader to start so deep here tonight. And then you've got John Hagan, Trevor Walker, Justin Day 2, Lewis Trost, with Jack Ross and Monty Shangle rounding out the field here tonight. 100 laps around this very tight quarters short road course that we've got here tonight. And Braden Varga, Bradley Reim, they're trying to hunt down Al Bunche with his points lead. They could really gain to capitalize a lot here tonight with a terrible qualifying position from the points leader Al Bunche. Brian DeBlank and Dalton Scott both with a great start here tonight, front row, and Al Bunche deep in the field. We're getting ready to roll. The pace card pulled off, flag in hand, ready to be waved. Green, green, green. Here we go. Lakeside Park. This is where we had the Music Fest Grand Prix last year, and it had some interesting chaos, great racing all throughout the week. Tonight should be a pretty good one. Already after the first lap, we've got someone wrecked out, it looks like. 21 of Kara Shangle. 3 wide with Gannon Bird and Matthew Fastnot. This is happening right behind Al Bunche. Right in front of Al Bunche, actually. Hard hit for Kara. Al Bunche was able to drive through it, but that's what you get when you're put in the back here. Al Bunche is going to have to keep his wits about him here tonight. Make sure not to get into anyone else's mistake. Some more debris in eye shot of Al Bunche there. It's getting a little bit wild, and Al Bunche is just at the back end of the field here. Not looking like the Al Bunche that's been on such a tear lately. Do got to wonder if the end of the year maybe catching up to him in the news of Jaguar parting at the end of the year. Doesn't seem to be slowing down the likes of Dalton Scott, though, who is also in a Jaguar, up front leading the race here tonight. Brian DeBlank has been a certified road course ringer his whole career, and tonight doing just as he is very well known at doing, run up front in a road course. How about Chaz Chadwick? The turnaround for him has been very noticeable. He has had a tough start to the year, but has since come back around to it, and he's holding steady in third right now. His teammate Ewan What Army right behind him. Rookie of the Year candidate Rich Roy running top 5 here tonight at Queensland Lakeside Park. And at the moment, Al Bunche running 37th. Off the pace for the Al Bunche that we all know. You know, sometimes you've got a bad night. This may just be one of those bad nights, but sometimes you can win a championship on those bad ones. Every time, once in a while, drivers will go through slumps. I mean, you look at the likes of Kyle Larson, who's won a lot of races over his illustrious career. And when he stops winning, people start wondering, is he washed? I mean, you can't really call a driver in their prime washed. Al Bunche, he's just a second year removed from being rookie. So there's no way you go from rookie to sophomore to veteran to washed. It just don't work that way. Just having an off night here at Lakeside, a track that he won at last time we came here. Strategy could win the game too, as a lot of all these Sigma road course races, there's no cautions. These drivers pretty much run from flag to flag unless there's a tremendous wreck blocking a very key part of the track, or if there's oil down that is considered to be an oil slick or hazardous for the race car drivers. And I've been trying to boogie through the end of the season here, and in a couple weeks now, I'm going to be going to Vegas for the NASCAR Vegas race. So that kind of changes up the game plan here a little bit to get these races pumped out a little quicker. This being race 36, the next one on the calendar is New Hampshire, Kyalami, and Gateway. There's a good chance that I might just get all three of those pumped out here within the next couple races, couple days, without getting too much further behind. Rather get ahead of the schedule and get the season in the book so that we can start looking at the silly season. Well, so far, not a whole lot of drama through the first 12 laps of the race here tonight. Karashangle did get wrecked at the back on the start of the race before the first lap was completed right here in the sand section. She continues on, soldiering on in 42nd position. Al Bunche had a bad qualifying spot to start here today and has not been able to make up much ground at all, still sitting 37th deep in the field. This is looking good for the contenders that are needing to make up that points gap, such as Bradley Reim, Braden Varga, Brian DeBlanc. Even Ewan What Army could still potentially get into this. Made it through the sprint qualifier here. Ant Me Person, who has been on a terrible downward spiral over the last basically year. Driver that had looked like a stud, a star of the series, and has since kind of fallen by the wayside. We do know that he's got good presence when it comes to road course racing and on somewhat home soil here in Australia. Ant Me Person having a good run in 6th at the moment. Year 2025 Sigma All-Star James Fireball Robert running in 7th. Looks like he's going to try to make a move on Ant Me Person. He gets his bumper right there on the back of the 13. They go drag racing down the front stretch. The 95 is going to have the advantage here on that inside line. And chalk that up as a position gain for James Fireball Robert. This kind of looks like the high movement zone as we've got some drivers fighting for positions here amongst the top 10. Carson Bowers running in 10th, Wyatt Wilkinson in 11th. Behind that, you've also got the 94 of Eli Wolf, Tasha Wright, Bradley Reim, Belafon, and Braden Varga sitting in 16th at the moment. Wow. Al Bunche ends up losing a spot to Monty Shangle here, falling back to 38th. And even worse, 39th, 40th, 41st, and 42nd are still very much within range of catching him here. This is a very uncommon start to a race that I've ever seen from Al Bunche. He's usually been lights out. This is throwing back shades of his rookie season when he raced for LFG Motorsports back in 2022, I want to say, or 2023, my bad. Seems like they may have just really missed the setup here tonight, which is a shame. James Fireball Robert getting alongside the 71 of Rich Roy. Well, your race leader, Dalton Scott, just now pitted, and that's going to give James Fireball Robert the lead here, bringing Chaz Chadwick up to second, Ewan Wood Army up to third, as Dalton Scott makes his pit stop. If you're just tuning in, haven't missed a whole lot. We did have a wreck on the first lap, including the 21 of Kara Shangle pictured right there. She's still out there running, still actually trying to pass people for position at the moment. But she's coming down pit road, possibly going to take a little bit longer on her pit stop here. Get some repairs done on that number 21. Big game changer, though, tonight is Al Bunche's struggles. He's running 31st. He qualified 36th. He has not shown a whole lot of speed yet here tonight, but it's a long race. Still 73 laps to go. A lot could happen. Strategy could be the name of the game here for Mr. Al Bunche, as you got Dalton Scott back here after making his pit stop. Brian DeBlanc, who's up running in second at one point. And more takers down pit road as the pit stops are going to start rolling in here. But at the moment, James Fireball Robert outlasting the rest by staying out as long as he can. Leading some laps, getting that bonus point, maybe some more bonus points if he can lead most laps. And he's going to make his pit stop now. We'll be looking for the rest of the takers to go down pit road here shortly. It shouldn't be much longer for everyone. Rich Roy's going to stay out. I think some of these drivers are trying to cut it into a two-stop race. If they can stop at lap 34, that means they can make it to lap 68, which would almost give them enough laps to go to the finish on two stops. It's going to be close. Ideally, they're going to have to go about 35 laps to make it a true two-stopper. There we have at least two cars that are going to try to stretch it here. Rich Roy and Tasha Wright stretching it to lap 34, which means they'll be on pit road for lap 35. Tasha making a move here on Rich Roy for what would be the lead right now. Wow, they're going to stay out even longer. This is getting into that rare air where they can make it on two true stops here today. Goes Tosh on the inside of the 71, trying to make the move for the lead. Rich Roy holds the position, though. This is just good old-fashioned road course racing as these drivers try to sneak out some interesting strategies here in tonight's race. Tasha making that move again, going low on the 71. She keeps trying it. Is she going to be able to execute? Gets on the rumble strips, and that's where she loses it each time. Now the 59 making the move. That is for position. No, my bad. 33rd. They're a lap down. Wow, they're stretching it long. Well, now Rich Roy and Tosh Wright should be pretty comfortable making it on a two-stop strategy now without any cautions. Well, folks, we're officially halfway through the Lakeside Park 150 here today, and James Fireball Robert currently leading with Dalton Scott in second, and Al Bunche is about to go a lap down here today. This is fixing to be a big points day for the contenders that are trying to catch Al Bunche in that title. And it could start to shrink exponentially here over the next couple weeks leading into the Music Fest Grand Prix. So currently, the lead is part of an advantage from pit stop strategy, and Tasha Wright is doing pretty darn well holding that lead right now. She should be able to have at least an advantage with pit strategy in her favor now, as she only needs to make one more stop, and the rest of the field will likely have to make at least two more stops. So and it looks like it is the time to make that pit stop right here as Tasha pulls down pit road. And she should be good to go all the way to the finish now without having to make one more pit stop. Everyone else that's still running will have to make at least one more pit stop to get to the finish here tonight. So she made it 37 laps on her first run, roughly about 36 more on this run, so leaving it with a good Alrighty, folks, it looks like the internet's getting dialed back in here. We're down to 25 laps to go from Australia here at Lakeside Park. And it's been a pretty big strategy game here tonight. The likes of who you're looking at, he's contending for that title. So is Eli the Wolf. Tom Cording, Bradley Reim. Might be more of a mute point tonight if they don't get more points on Al Bunche on a bad night. But the drive we're going to be keeping our eyes on is Tasha Wright here, who should be in the catbird seat. She didn't have to pit any more times tonight. Everyone else has to pit in front of her at least once more. And if that doesn't pan out that way, she's going to have fresher equipment to roll through one by one here. So we'll see if she can get out of 24th place and fight for position without pit stops factoring in here. She's already looking at trying to take 23rd away from Lynn Farrell. So that is the name of the game, strategies when it comes to road course racing. How much longer is James Fireball Robert and Dalton Scott going to be able to stay out front here is the big question. If they can make it all the way or not, they are definitely going to be short without having to make at least one more pit stop. 22 laps, though, who knows? They may have some strategies under their belt that we didn't see coming. Maybe a super save strategy that was all about getting that track position and burning their stuff down to the very end. They're already 2 seconds off their fast laps, so they're definitely burning. No cautions tonight, only one wreck on the first lap here. Whoa, and that is the 13 of Aunt Me Person coming off pit road. So there we go, some more takers. As I mentioned already, pit stops are going to be happening with the guys and gals that still haven't made that last pit stop. James Fireball Robert has definitely had a spectacular year, as well as Dalton Scott right there behind him. Pair of drivers that have just been trying to add more wins to the record book for themselves. And for the most part, 95 of James Fireball Robert, a rookie, adding wins to the record book for himself. And here we go, 21 laps to go. They're pitting. I knew they were going to have to pit at least one more time, so this should start rotating back to Tasha's advantage. Wow, the top four all pitted. 5, 6. There we go. That's going to be our new lead group there, it looks like. Braden Varga and Carson Bowers. So Carson Bowers jumps to the lead here with 20 laps to go. And they don't last very long as those two both pit. Top two drop down pit road. That's going to bring Wyatt Wilkinson to the lead now. It's going to be a different leader every lap, it looks like, with people not being able to run all the way to the finish with the fuel that they've got in the reserves. Wyatt Wilkinson with 19 laps to go. 19 car with 19 to go, that is. And there we have it. Tasha back to the lead with 18 to go. Now, NR2003 shenanigans often throw us some curveballs once in a while. And this track has given us some weird and wacky pit strategies that do not seem to make sense by any logic. So tonight, let's just hope that logic wins out here. That Tasha's actually got a winning strategy under her belt. Because last few races that we've had here, it tends to they all of a sudden have not enough fuel in the tank, even though they proved that they could go 33 to 40 laps, and then all of a sudden they decide to short pit at 20 laps. So fingers crossed for the team. I'm sure they've got their fingers crossed and hoping for the best here at the end of the race, that Tasha's going to stay out, finish this race, and potentially secure her first career Sigma Cup win. 16 laps to go. The lap count is beginning to get in her favor here, with less and less laps working against her, that is. Now, this is why we can't have nice things. The internet just does not work for me. Doesn't matter what I do, it seems like the internet never seems to cooperate, so. Regardless, the race is still going on, and if the internet could get caught back up with itself, we're looking at potentially groundbreaking first career win here for a driver that's never won in the Sigma Cup Series. She's hunting and hoping that it all works out here. 16 laps to go now. Will Tasha be able to run it to the finish without any more pit stops? Alrighty, we are down to just 10 laps to go here now. Tasha Wright, your leader, with a good advantage over the rest of the field. She's got the advantage right now over her teammate James Fireball Robert, but it's only down to a 3.6 second lead. Whereas once the advantage was a lot steeper on the strategy here for her. It's showing that the longer you go on your green flag runs, the slower the car gets. And Tasha is definitely running it right to the ragged edge. 9 laps to go. The gap is shrinking with the cars that have fresher tires, fuller tanks of gas. It's going to come right down to the wire here as James Fireball Robert, the teammate to Tasha Wright, could potentially run her down. Regardless of the outcome, it's definitely going to be a Courting Brothers Motorsports affair at the end of this one with 8 to go. Potentially Tasha or James Fireball Robert to get the win here. Dalton Scott's not too far out of the mix. He could still make something of it. That gap is continuing to shrink. As you can see the 95 in the background. Tasha should have enough fuel to go to the finish. I mean, if she starts feeling it quivering, quaking, or rumbling, low on fuel, she might have to pull down prematurely. But right now, the gap is significantly shrinking. So, does she have enough an advantage here to make it work? It doesn't look very promising. That 95 is closing up on her something fierce. The advantage right now is 1.22 seconds. 95 has been chopping it down by about a second a lap right now. If we look laps led here tonight, Tasha has led 28, James Fireball Robert at 22, Dalton Scott at 38. Top 3 drivers all at the front all day today, leading the most laps that they could. Regardless, even if Tasha doesn't turn this into a win, it has been turned into a tremendous, bigger performance than what she would have had otherwise playing the alternate strategy here tonight. And I don't know if teammates are going to make a difference here. If that 95 is going to play nice or try to make this a living hell for Tasha. You got to imagine the lap fall off on the tires for the 95 should be coming soon too. And we might actually see some equilibrium between the two tire, the advantage and disadvantage. Tasha's back at the lead. Still holding the lead. Dalton Scott looking around. James Fireball Robert here. Ooh, there we go. Fireball's getting on the inside of the 90. This might be all it took to get the lead and drive away with it. And that's not going to be easy for Tasha to get back after the 95 just blew by her in the turn there. As I mentioned, Tasha still, she could convert this into a great finish here tonight. A top 5, top 10. Or even a top 3 as it sits right now. Caution would not have saved her. It actually would have hindered her going into overtime here at the road course. She would have probably lost 10 spots on a restart here tonight. So the fact of the matter is we stayed green, even though that car got stuck on the apron, stuck on the hill, the mound of dirt. And you got to commend Tasha for putting together an effort tonight to try and think outside the box. Thinking outside the box, got her up front, leading laps, and looking like a mastermind to potentially get the win here today. You know, it makes getting that even more sweeter when it does hit. I mean, tonight is going to stink. It's going to hurt like hell to come that close and fall to third, maybe fourth, maybe fifth by the end of this race. But that right there is the spirit of the battle. You got to go out there and you got to put in those hard-earned battles, fighting for a win, trying to get it. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Tonight, unfortunately, is the sometimes you don't half of the equation. Wild and crazy things could still happen with lap traffic in front of your leaders. White flag, one more lap to go. It's James Fireball Robert leading over Dalton Scott. Tasha Wright's falling backwards there on her old tires that are wore out. She's just trying to soldier it on home to get as good a finish as possible. And that, folks, is why strategy is key when it comes to these road course races. Sometimes you may not know how that strategy will pan out until the final lap. These masterminds on the pit boxes that we call crew chiefs really know when is the right time to make those pit stops so that you could be like the 95 here of James Fireball Robert and take the final lead with 3 laps to go. And here he is rolling down the front stretch for the final time here tonight. He's going to pull home victorious for Courting Brothers Motorsports. Dalton Scott in second. Tasha Wright with a solid third place finish. Brian DeBlank fourth. Coming home in fifth, it's going to be Jacob Shangle in the Genesis. Chaz Chadwick in sixth. Rich Roy seventh. Ewan Wood Army eighth. Kellen Relic ninth. Ant Meeperson with a top 10. Lewis Trost 11th. Braden Varga 12th. That points gap is going to close up on Al Bunche after tonight. Carson Bowers, Wyatt Wilkinson, Maggie Reams, Bella Fawn, Cooper Dwight, Guido Piano. Wow, Al Bunche 36th, a lap down here tonight. Eli the Wolf 19th. 20th it is Tom Courting. 21st, Lucas Holmes. 22nd, Tyler Shangle. Trevor Walker. Jordan Walker, the Walker brothers, 24th and 25th. Bradley Reim struggled here tonight on the strategies. Bringing it home 25th. Lynn Farrell. Andre Stefan. Tristan Reams. Tyler Aspinall. And that, folks, is a wrap here tonight from Lakeside Park here in Australia. 36 races down, 6 races left to go. That points gap is now, you can only get 1,200 points in the last 6 races of the season now with the double points, and we will see who could maybe run down Al Bunche here at the end of the year. It's getting interesting, especially with a bad run here from Al Bunche tonight. Very uncharacteristic from him. An uncharacteristically bad day for Al Bunche means at least we can see some excitement closing out the season here. So definitely has been a very interesting 3 race winners the past 3 weeks between Bradley Reim, Braden Varga, and now James Fireball Robert, who could still get himself back into the mix here. Well, that wraps it up here tonight. Internet's gone. Internet's gone. Internet has been giving me crap all night, so